Oh, that's fine.
Right now, we are live and in concert.
Let's go.
Let's go. My name is Myles. I got my main man Curtis on the scene. Curtis, big shout out to my son. Curtis has been doing this left to right. Is weird right now because it's midnight, but that's his brand. It's
Oh,
not love
man.
only. It's not love only. It's not love only. And I always get it wrong. But what it is,
LVPRD.
LVPRD. Where is it on the screen? I don't see it. I think it should be coming up right
It's
there.
right here.
And it's right on the screen. But that's my fault. That's bad production on my part.
It's all good. We rocking out.
We're going to talk heavy on this. So, Chach, before we start, I call him Chach. You call him Curtis because you don't know him like that, but I call him Chach. It's my brother.
Right.
So, anything you want to say before we get to these proverbs? Even though, like, I forgot to say them curl, even though I was talking to my mother for like half hour and she told me how to say it for like 5 hours. So,
So what he was
I
trying
forgot.
to say in Creole was a leaky roof can fool the
Oh no no
sun.
no 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 no, bro. We started all over. So that nobody
Oh,
else knows about that. Yeah, nobody else knows about
okay.
that.
Copy too
All
easy.
right, don't
Start
tell me
over.
what I was trying to say. So this is my
My
shit.
fault. My fault. My fault.
I'm
My
trying
fault.
to play my shit.
Played
right?
myself.
So this is yeah, play myself show. So that's that. No, that's that. This is different. This is different. This is different. This is vlogmas. This is vlogmas,
The
right?
vlogmas.
So this is vlogmas. So okay, day 17 of vlogmas. Here is the proverb. Z. Kai koule, ka tompui, soule, et lapil, tompe, lapil. So, hold on. Kai koule, ka tompui, and like, all right, tompui means fool. Okay,
Hmm.
okay. All right, so yeah. I said that wrong. I said it all wrong. But just read it in English and then we'll just talk heavy on it.
A leaky house can fool the sun, but it can't fool the rain.
Again, a leaky house can fool the
Fool
sun,
the
but
sun, but it
cannot fool
can't
rain.
fool the rain.
What that mean? Does that mean I can't stand the rain, or does it mean um? What dude said from what's that show
You
called?
can't stop the rain.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You can't stop the rain, no, when it starts to fall.
Mm. What that
Right?
mean though to you?
Um, so live your truth, man. That's what it
Mm.
say to me. It tells me to live your truth and be solid in your truth. Yeah.
That don't say that to me.
No?
Mm-mm.
I can
I
explain.
mean, I feel like that could. You if you want to go.
Yeah, I mean, so it says a leaky house can fool the sun, but it can't fool the rain. So what that's saying is that um it speaks to authenticity, right? If you're being authentic, you living in your truth, right? There's no holes in that. No one can no one can pierce your truth. You know what I mean? So you're not a fraud. You can, you know what I mean? So like social media, Instagram, and all that. Right? There's a lot of people there fronting like they got it good and everything is all good. And some of these people we might know personally, right? So we know their truth, but we see them on Instagram and that shit not matching. You know what I mean? And if
That shit
somebody
not
come
matching the smile.
right, so if somebody, we can speak. I hate using the word haters, but we can speak on haters, right? You portraying an image that you're really not, and you got a hater that comes along, and they know you for who you are. If you're not living your truth, they could violate you,
Mm.
right? They can expose you. You know what I mean? And not only expose you, but even for yourself, right? There's a dope quote from a book that you recommended that I read. When it all falls apart. I forget the author's name, but he has a quote in there, and it says, "When you learn to love the truth, you expose yourself." Right? I mean, when you start to take the journey to live in your truth and discover who you are and live by that, you can't. There's no other way. There's no other way. There's no other way you can present yourself but in your truth. If that make any sense, you know what I'm saying?
It makes sense, but this where I want to fight back on that, right?
Go fight
And like, yo, Curtis is one of my brothers that like we go through the truth and all what it means to us every day, like
every day.
especially Mondays, right? But I tell you this, bro, it's like, and it's kind of like what I was telling Tom last night. It's like, all right, understanding your truth is a journey in itself, right?
Right,
So when it says a leaky house can fool the sun, but not the rain, I think it's almost like a duality, but it's like you against you, but in the sense to where it's like if you have a house, you have a house. Like like your weak points yourself. So and I thought heavy about this. So it's like yo, like only you know what could be considered the rain. You know what I mean? Like the sun is the sun. Like if I see you today, you be like, I'm like, yo, Josh, you good? And even if you're not good, you say, nah, I'm good. I gotta take that for what you tell me. You see what I'm saying? And what you tell me is the sun. And like you're telling me the sun, and like I could keep pushing, and I could be like, yeah, yeah, what's up, man? Like, tell me what's good. Tell me what's good. And you could be like, yo, then it could get ugly, right? But only you could say, bro, and it won't be in that conversation. You know what I mean? It won't be ever
hmm
be in that conversation. But it's like the rain is like is droplets, right? Because the rain come down and it's like it's pieces. But when they say the rain, a piece could just be like somebody else say something to you, this person say something to you, this person say something to you. But the sun is what you give because that's bright. You know what I
mm.
mean? That's what it mean to me.
I mean, listen. That's one way to tell you, bro. So when we let's break
It's
it
no
down,
right
right? It
way with
says
it. It's no right way with it. It's no right way with it. It's just
right.
what it mean to you.
It's
Yeah.
what it reveals to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, what it reveals to me. So I'll break it down, right? Uh, a leaky roof could fool the sun, right? If we speak about the sun shines down on everybody. It shines down on everybody. It can make anybody glow, right? It can make anybody glow because it's shining down, right? But the rain, when it rains, if that roof ain't stable, it's coming. The rain is coming through. Your roof is caving in, right? You're not solid. So when I say live your truth, I mean you're not being solid in who you are. You know what I'm saying? And anybody that comes along, if they want to play with you, they could play with you. Now I'm not just speaking to um um person to person. I'm just speaking even like you said versus you versus you. It's the same
Yeah.
thing. You know, it's the same thing, man. If you know, I know for me, you know, I know for me, anytime I come across an event where I got to second guess what I did after, and
Mm-hmm.
I got to question what I did after. That's not me living. Like if I got to question myself what I did after, I didn't live my truth in that moment. You know what I'm saying? I
I
wasn't
get
being
you,
me in that moment.
good brother. I
You
get
feel
you.
me?
But what I'm trying to tell you, what I'm telling you is like, yo, all right. So let's talk heavy, right?
Talking.
When do you think that, like, as a man, as a human, like,
Hmm
when do people start realizing their truth, like what their truth could be, even? You know what I mean? Like, is that something that just happens to where it's like, yo, live your truth, like, because that's something that I struggle with. It's like, all right, can I live my truth? Yo, what's my
hmm
truth? Like you, like that's a whole nother world of digging.
That's a whole nother world digging.
right?
Only you know what your truth is, right? And there's
Nah,
no
I don't feel like most people know what their truth is, bro. Like that's what I'm saying.
that's real. That's real. That's
Yeah,
real. And I'm big on that. A lot of people aren't aware what that even looks like, right? But you said when is a time when people want to live their truth?
so it's like this.
That's on.
I'm gonna analogize it for the world, cause
Go.
you talking to me, and then like we have a different building. It's like yeah. So
Right.
boom. So I'm gonna talk about sex, cause that's like my shit, right? So like yo, you really don't know how to fuck until you in your late 20s and 30s, because like most people are like watching other people do things and they think they nice at it,
Hmm.
and you're not even getting the practice you need to put in, right? But
Right.
that, like, to me, that might be like the first sign of seeking your truth, when you understand like who you are,
Hmm.
physically,
Right.
right, when it comes to other people, right? And it's
Mm.
weird for some people, but like to me, like that's what how I feel, right?
Right.
But then
So
when
you
it
know what
comes,
I'm.
go ahead.
No, I'm gonna challenge you with this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy. Before we got on here, I thought about this. Do you think in your growth process your truth changes?
No,
No.
I don't,
Mm. So I say
because
that. Okay.
I feel like your truth is not. I feel like your truth is like a subject. So like yo, like so like I feel like yo, if my truth is it, like my truth could be like yo, this is it. Whatever I'm doing in it, whatever I feel like that's my
Hmm.
truth, right?
Right.
So like we build our spectrums of belief, and we build our understanding of like how large we can get. So I feel like whatever, and I think that like when you come to talk about mental health, I feel like that's where like anxiety comes from. It's like
Hmm.
you're so anxious to understand who you could be,
Right.
and you never do it. Like, and then as you go to it, you know it, and like that's me every day. Like I know it, and it's like, oh man, if I could just come down here and do this, but like, what am I gonna say? What am I gonna do? That's the hard part, right? But then, like when I read a proverb like this, it's like, man, like who am I trying to fool? Like
Right.
it's
Right.
raining down on me every day, and
Right.
only I can feel that rain. Like I'm wet, I'm wet, I'm wet, I'm wet, I'm wet, and it's just like then I go to sleep, and then tomorrow is the same thing. I just repeat the process
Mm.
until I face it and dig.
I dig. So, like I said, I had this thought before,
Right.
right? So in life, we transition, events happen, we become more aware, right? Perspectives change, right? And I think with that, in these times in our lives, our truth kind of changes for us as well, right? Because we living in these periods, and what we living in, right? Those times that we living in these periods of time, and whatever's going on in that time, that's what we're dealing with, right? That's what we're dealing with, right? So we react a certain way, and I think that's what our truth is, right? But as your perspective changes, and you become wiser, and you grow as a person, right? If your perspective change, you react and you respond to things differently. So I think with that, our truth kind of changes as well. No? Or I'm digging too deep,
Nah, you're not digging too deep. I understand what you're saying, but I feel
right?
like your truth is solid in you, but
Right.
like I said, it can change. So like it grows like it's like a seed, right? Like your seed grows in you, and it's
Hmm.
seeking understanding within, and that's
Right.
where that's what I got from the proverb. Is like, all right, you could say, all right, I'm a man of God, right? I used to have a man of God, but it's like yo, like I'm gonna serve God. Like that's my truth is like as a servant. of God,
Right.
right? But then like you tell yourself like everything I do would have to be in that area. That's your truth, right? It could be
Mm-hmm.
your truth, but you could just say like, yo, like my truth is just to say whatever the heck I want to say, and like uh, to your point, like you might graduate to that because it's like, all right, the reason I'm saying everything I want to say is because I want to be heard, right?
Right.
But then it's like then you ask yourself those why questions, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
it's like the why and how questions, right? It's like why do I want to be heard and how do people hear me,
Right.
right? And then when you ask yourself those questions, like all right, like these people I thought that would matter, they don't matter to me, right? And then
Right.
you just keep scratching and scratching and scratching, and the unfortunate part, man, is like, and this is just my belief, is like most people don't really, really super duper start living a real truth. If
Mm-hmm.
they're not like in the entertainment business, is either when they get old or they get sick. Because that's it. Like all, I feel like myself included, it's like a not a front, but it's almost like a front because like I kind of know what I have to do, but it's like all
Mm-hmm.
the fear that goes with that.
Right.
But then it's like so scared because like I don't know, like I don't want to do what I know that has to happen. I
Mm.
don't know. It's weird. Like I don't even know how to
Now,
explain it.
I just think that's the process, right? I think, you know, once you become aware, once you become aware that's a thing, that's just a process. That's not you not living your truth or being a fraud. That's just, you becoming aware and things don't happen overnight, son. Like, we fight out, like I said, we fight our conditions every day, right?
Yeah.
With knowing our truths.
But there's a
And
lot of imposter syndrome that comes in with that, right? So it's like
right.
I see what I do and I see what I
Mm-hmm.
have to do,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm a student of the game. So it's like, all right, like say like like live streaming was gonna be my thing. I came on live streaming after I decided I want to do podcasting.
Right.
I had a podcast last week that hit for 1,600. None of my
Right.
videos hit for 1,600, but like I'm already on here, and like
Right.
what I started off to do was that already. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
then it's like, all right, so it's not confusion to me, but it's like, all right, so the truth, what's my truth, right? But is my truth my occupation? Is my truth just like playing myself? Is it and like that's why you put these barriers in front of you, right? So I'm like, yo, play myself, so I'm about to play myself and just do
yeah.
everything I do to reach ultimate humility to where I don't care because like there's nothing that I need from anyone else. But then
Mm-hmm.
it's like, man, like why did I run that mile today? You know what I mean? So like, what do you, like when it comes to your truth? I think that's like being the best version of yourself
So,
every day,
absolutely. Right.
every single day. That's your truth, right? But then it's
Right.
like I think when I go to sleep, I always take inventory on like what I could have did better, and it's like that list always supersedes the list of the shit I did.
Right. And that's okay. I think that's okay. I said
Mm-hmm.
I think long as your intention is to be your better self every day, you're winning. And if you're and at the same time applying what you become aware of, you're winning. It's not gonna happen over. You're not. It's not gonna happen overnight, son. You're not gonna become aware. Like, oh, ding dong, this is what I'm supposed to do, and then next day, this is what I'm doing.
No,
No.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying like as far as living your truth. So like I feel like
Right.
the process comes into that. So I feel like
Yeah.
when the odds when the gains outweigh the odds, that's the only reason you start living your truth. So it's like this, bro. I know you personally, right? You,
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know what you still if you still going through it, but like yo, you started a brand and you stopped working, right? It's
Right.
yo, that's not me, right? So when you were working, it's a very responsible thing for a man to do in our
Right.
society, right? But that wasn't who you were. So
No,
that
but
wasn't you.
no. See, I'm gonna stop you there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is why I speak that your truth changes with your elevation and your awareness and all that stuff, right? Because I was working with juveniles, and
Mm-hmm.
in doing that, I was very good at it, and it was fulfilling because I was helping,
Mm-hmm.
right? It was
Mm-hmm.
fulfilling, and I was helping. But then I got to a point where I feel like, you know, with certain things being involved in the system and, they making your job harder, I feel like, you know what? I gave enough of me to this particular thing.
Right.
Right. I gave enough of me to this particular thing. So at that time, that was my truth. I was helping. That was part of my purpose, right? To help these kids.
Service. So like
Yes, sir.
let's give that the service, right? But
Right.
all right, but like again, that was part of your truth. So I feel like when we talk
Right. And
about
and not to and not to say I won't go back to doing that, but in something that
I'm not saying that. I'm
go
saying
ahead.
like, yo, do you feel like, yo, like if and do you know even to include yourself or anybody, somebody that's living a complete truth, like without service. So it's like, yo, so like your complete truth of like who you are, mind, body, and soul.
Hmm.
I feel
No.
like, man, that's like the best you could get is 80%, unless you got the means to, what I mean. Unless you gotta think about it like the full spectrum. It's like, yo, I got the land. I don't really need to communicate with people because there's so much temptation, and honestly, like I feel like the Bible is I'll use the Bible as an example. Like the Bible is meant to make you follow that and live your complete truth. But like if you start to live like that completely and practically, you're never gonna be able to do it unless you have your own, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like for example, so you build your brand, right? And if your brand puts you in a place where you could move to like a Idaho or Wyoming and you just like shipping stuff out, whatever goes on there, you have no access to the outside world. So why not live your truth, right? But right now, I feel like it's like you gotta be like this is like a little bit of sheep in everybody when it comes to certain shit, and it sucks to even admit that, but like that's what it is, man. Because like
No, it's a
I
real
need
thing,
to
bro.
buy this cereal. I need to buy like you know what I mean. Like you buy cereal, you eat cereal. Your cereal is bad for you. Sugar's bad for you, but we still mess with it. Yo, that's not my truth.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But like if I could, I wouldn't even say afford it because I know like we buy shit that we don't even need and to
Hmm.
afford. But that's what I'm saying is like you kind of have to have that even kill. And I think that it has a lot to do with us as humans. Is like, look, if I was producing what I knew I needed to produce, I wouldn't slow kill myself. You see what I'm saying? Whether it's smoking bogeys, whether it's drinking, whether it's
Hmm.
whatever. But if I knew like my truth and my purpose was aligned with what I needed to like fully do, I
Hmm.
know it's gonna happen. But like
Right.
it's like the scale. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's just my point. Like it's gonna happen, son. It's gonna happen. You're on your way, right?
Mm-hmm.
The
Yep.
intent is there, the practice is there. You're applying when you need to apply, right? Or when you can apply. Yeah, you're on your way, son. You know what I'm saying? So,
I'm
and
talking about
that's
everybody.
to me, that's living your truth.
Oh, see that to me is not like that.
Yeah, to me,
See,
that's living your truth, right?
mm-hmm.
You on that's part of living your truth, son. The process is part of living your truth. You got to go through it.
No, I agree with that. I agree with the process being
But
a
that's
part
all
of living
part of
your truth.
everything I just said is all part of the process, Boogie.
Right, but
That's all
as
part
far
of
as
it.
no, but what I'm talking about as far as living your truth, you don't know like yo, anything you can feel like you can second guess is not your truth. I feel. Anything I can second guess in my life, I'm like, yo, come on, son. Like just like this. Like I'm like, yo, when we say to each other and we talk about this, yo, I'm gonna call you right back. And you don't call somebody back. Yo, that's not living your truth, bro. To me, if you want to be real, it's like, yo, I hit you back. No, I don't hit you back. Or like, yo, I'm pick you up in 15 minutes and I'm in 16 minutes. I honestly, I'm not gonna say that I chase a world where that all could be right. I'm just telling you that, like,
That's for you. That's how you right.
yeah, exactly. I think I'm capable
That's
of
not
it.
living your truth,
Yeah, I
right?
think I'm capable. No, it's not like I don't live my truth.
Right.
I'm
I
fully.
think you live your truth. I think you live your truth to the
That's what I'm
fullest.
saying. But like when it comes
Yeah.
to fully, like fully, because like
But
I feel
what's
like
fully, son? Right? What's fully? we're we're constantly evolving, we constantly growing, like we constantly become aware of new things, right? They say at the top, they said that at the top of one mountain is the bottom of the next, right? So what's
Yeah,
fully, right? What's
it's
fully?
subjective, bro. But that's what I'm trying to tell you. It's subjective, but it's like, as a man, as a human, like, what do you strive for? Like, once you figured out like that money was the everything, like you had mad money, okay,
Mhm.
it's like, to me, like, I mean, I'm not gonna talk about you.
Right,
The most money I ever had, I was unhappy because I have nobody but money. I have
right,
no. I was like watching over my shoulder. So like, I feel like as a man, you gotta, or as just like a human, and like especially with children, it's legacy. Then it becomes legacy, right? But it's like, yo, you could only leave so much money, but like, what do you leave? Knowledge. What if your son don't want to do what you want to do? What if your daughter wants to go a different way?
hmm
And like, to me, like that breeds anxiety, right? And like, say if that
right,
breeds anxiety, how do you make yourself purposeful to like grow those little legs to do what they got to do with where you feel like you'll have a time to relax, or like if you feel like you'll never relax, that's purgatory. I feel like, you know what I'm saying, like, so like, it's weird, man. Like, I mean, that's just how my brain thinks. It's like, man,
right,
if I do this and they can't do this, what am I doing? Because I'm not giving up on my dream, but at the same time, I'm doing this so I can, hey, get over here. Let me show you how to do this because
right,
this is what we do.
right. But
You
what's
know
for
what I
you?
mean?
But what's for you is not for them, right?
Right. But you're not going to sleep.
They got they got their own journey.
They
Mhm.
got their own journey. But all right, so you going to retire? You think you're like, so that's just funny you say that. And this is one thing I told me and my dad talked about this. I was like, Dad,
Mhm.
so if I wasn't successful, he wouldn't be able to like dead ass retire and be okay knowing that I'm struggling like Al, right?
Mhm.
So it puts him at ease that I'm able to like retire myself, and we damn near gonna retire at the same time, right?
Right.
But the world is changing. The
Mhm.
world is changing to where people not retiring no more, bro. You figuring out your own financial needs. Like,
Right.
these kids is not working no 20-year job, 30 years. Like
Right.
we like even we like we was late to that game, and I feel
Right.
like maybe 2 3 years younger than us. That's the last generation for that. Maybe people don't want to keep jobs for no 20, 30 years.
No.
So now it comes to the age of the builder, the
Mhm.
renaissance. This is a renaissance, right?
Mhm.
So regardless of what you think, and this is just my theory because I think about this,
Mhm.
your son and your daughter is going to be in your same industry, and it's only going to be those tools you leave for them to be able to build on that.
Mhm.
So like, F school, F whatever, is more about what you show them in the crib, to where they can just be like, look, I we going, it's almost going back to like the mid ages where it's like, oh, we make the best t-shirts, we make the best, socks, and then they gonna have to sling that to get bread. I just see it like that, and that's weird, maybe,
Mhm.
but that's how
I
I see
mean, like I'll go back to they got their own lane and they got their own story to build on. But listen, man, it's here for them, right? I'll leave it.
it.
It's here
Yeah,
for them.
I hear
It's
you,
it's here for them. But at the end of the day, it's just an option for them, bro. Like it's just an option.
bro.
It's an option.
That's shit the only
That
option, bro.
no, it's not the only option. Not for them.
Yeah,
They
you.
coming up. They don't. It's not the only option, son. Whatever they
No,
choose to
no,
do, they're
I'm
gonna
not. No,
choose to
no, you're
do.
right. No, I'm not gonna say
Yeah.
it's the only option. But what I will say is this, right? And then we could talk on the phone because I feel like this is getting to like a brother fight. It is something that, yo, the years you spend learning how to create garment and do that, you
hmm
owe it to them to teach them that, right? What they do with that, they do with that.
Right.
But that's they leg up. You know what I
hmm
mean? And that's the same thing I feel with Max. Like,
Right.
you're like, yo, this kid will learn no cameras and,
Right?
how to edit and stuff like that.
I don't.
You know what
I
I'm
don't
saying?
think I owe them. I don't think I owe them to know how to make garments and all that. Again, it's here. It's available for them to learn it. Right? They want to learn it. I'll take the initiative. Right? To
Mm-hmm.
to pull my son. He'll be 16 in 2 months. To pull my son, which I do. I pull him to the lab. Boom, 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 boom. I even encourage him to come up with his own brand. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's not what he's into.
Mm.
It's not striking his interest for some reason, right? Not
Mm-hmm.
saying it won't do it down the line, but for right now, that's not what it's doing, right? So all that tells me is that this is just an option for him, right? I could give it to him, right?
I
The
get
only
that.
thing the only thing I owe him is these good morals my mom gave me, these principles, you know what I'm saying, and try to teach him to be a solid young man, you know what I'm saying, a stand up young man. That's what I owe him. But this brand, if it ain't for him, it ain't for him. It's just an option, right? It's an option. It's a great option, but if he don't take it, he don't take it. He got his
You're
own
gonna be
story. He had his own story to make, bro.
you're gonna
We
be
got our own
tweaking.
stories to make, bro. That's it.
All right, man. I'm gonna talk to you in the jack about this, cause
Let's
matter
do
of
it.
fact, I'm gonna say it right here, like this,
Go
and
ahead.
I'll call you back after this.
Go
Yo,
ahead.
so, yo, all right, you spent $20,000 on a machine.
Hmm.
Yo, you leaving that to me?
If you want it,
Nah, son, you leave that to your boy. And then like, yo,
yeah, he
so
can have it, son. But at the end of the day, look, Boogie, we can't control what these young kids, what they do
so
with
you
their
only sell it
lives,
for
son.
4.
Say what?
So you bought it for 20, he sell it for 3 or 4.
Yeah, it served its purpose, man. It was for
You gonna be
me.
flipping. You gonna be flipping in the
Nah, it was for me, Boogie. It was for
nah,
me. If it's not for him, it's
nah.
not for him.
You came up with
It
that.
was for me.
Nah, that's dope. Nah, I feel you.
Yeah,
I feel you.
all I could give him is good work ethic. He see his father work hard, go
Yeah.
hard for him. He sees his father loves him, shows him love. He see his father, that's all I can give. That's what I'm gonna give him. But as
Mm.
far as doing what I'm doing or doing what I'm doing, it's an option.
I think that's different though, bro. And I'm not gonna. Well, this is not gonna be no hour show about this, man. I'm gonna call you
Good,
back
good,
after the
good,
Jacks.
good.
Yo, love. Hey,
You already know
everybody
it.
that's watching this and comment on it, cause I know a lot of people gonna be like, Miles is wrong, cause that's what the people tend to do. But yeah,
You the
I'm
man,
wrong, maybe, and
right?
whatever. But we'll talk heavy about it whenever we have
We
to,
do
man.
it.
Like,
And check it out. My Instagram is LVPRD brand, and my Facebook is LVPRD, and my website is LVPRD.com.
and I'll put
Come
that in the
holla at me.
description. I'll put that in the description. I put that in the description so in case y'all want to cop some merch or whatever.
Yeah, come share this
Cause
love.
they
Come
they
spread, help me
always
spread this love.
right, right. They always like the brand always shows love on the show, and they send all this cool merch for me and Mo doing play myself show. So love, So Al, this is
Right.
like 1:36 in the morning to vlog
And
this
we
in the
live.
morning. I gotta show love because
Right.
we got it done. We got it done.
Right.
And my
Yo,
Uncle
thanks for having me,
Frankie,
bro.